Hey everyone, Jason here with Global One Defense. Hope you're doing well, hope you're staying safe and healthy. As we haven't been able to gather or do any training events, we decided to put a couple videos together on weapons malfunctions. We're going to go through Class 1, Class 2, Class 3 malfunctions, and we're going to put these videos out every week for the next couple weeks. I've been a firearms instructor for 21 years, started in the Marine Corps in the infantry as an infantry instructor, and then carried that over to law enforcement up to and including SWAT team instructor for the Albuquerque Police Department. So what we're going to go over today is a Class 1 malfunction. But before we go there, as you see, I got a couple pieces of brass, empty magazine. We have a firearm, physically inspect that it is unloaded. I have my Marine Corps America gun here, 9mm Smith & Wesson M&P. Also, it is clear and an empty magazine. So, I'm left-handed. I'll demonstrate both left-handed and right-handed. My firearms instructor said left-handed shooters should be drowned at birth. I disagree. But anyway, what we're going to do is call Class 1 malfunction. What happens with the Class 1 malfunction? Class 1 malfunction happens when it's a failure to fire. Okay, so you draw your firearm out, you come out, you squeeze the trigger, and nothing happens. You hear that hammer go home, or that striker go home. They say that the loudest noise in a gunfight is a hammer falling on an empty chamber, right? So you squeeze the trigger, nothing happens. Well, why does that happen? Or another scenario is you draw out, you fire your first round, your weapon cycles, your second round falls on an empty chamber. Why did that happen? Well, in the first case, you draw out, you squeeze the trigger, nothing happened. Well, there's a couple causes for it. One, which is not very common, but it does happen, just have bad ammunition, okay? The second one is, well, maybe you just forgot to load it. It happens. Hope it doesn't happen to you. But regardless, what we need to do is reload our gun, okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to tap, rack, you're going to assess and fire if necessary. You may have heard tap, rack, bang. You're going to tap, rack, assess, and bang if necessary. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to tap the magazine to make sure it's fully seated. You're going to reach up, you're going to rack the firearm, you're going to assess and squeeze the trigger if necessary. That's if your first shot is empty, just falls on an empty chamber. Now let's just say you draw out, you fire, it cycles, the round goes downrange, you go for a second shot, and it falls on an empty chamber. Most oftentimes, that's because it's a poorly seated magazine. As you could see, it just wasn't seated quite enough. Okay? Rather the way you carry it bumped up against something, or you didn't seat it firmly in the first place. It fired the first round, but the magazine is too low for it to hit that second round. That's why we tap it always. We tap, we rack, and we assess and fire if necessary. Okay? Another component of it is, since gravity's in our favor, and it'll make more sense when we get to Class 2, if we have an obstruction in our firearm, we could always roll the weapon. Okay? You could tap, rack and roll, assess and fire if necessary. If you had a Class 2 malfunction, rolling it, the gravity will assist dropping that round out. So again, tap, rack, assess, and fire if necessary. See us next week, and we'll go through a Class 2 malfunction. God bless you, and God bless these United States of America.